Today, I'm going to be building different DIY toy guns in 1 minute, 1 hour, all the way up to a day, with each one getting crazier and more powerful than the last. And starting off with the most basic one, we're going to make an air-powered dart launcher. It's so easy to make that tribes in the Amazon rainforest use similar contraptions to hunt for their food. But I don't have a ton of bamboo and wood lying in my backyard, so these materials I found in my house should do the trick. So first, I'm going to use some black foam with hot glue to make a handle for the main body of it, because right now it's just raw aluminium, so this will be way more comfortable to hold. And now we can get to the exciting part, which is making the actual darts. So literally just with some post-it notes, I can build a pretty sharp cone. And to make sure it doesn't unravel, I'm going to stick some clear tape onto it. But if you haven't noticed already, it's way too big to fit in the pipe. If I use some scissors though, I can make it perfectly snug, which is how I'm going to get it to travel so fast. We're not done just yet though, because if I want it to be really powerful, I'll need something pointy at the end. And I've got the perfect thing, nails. If I just poke this through the end, put some hot glue in the middle to add some weight, my darts are finished. And they're really sharp. Now all that's left to do is test it, and I'm going to do that against 2 different targets. And to be honest, the second one actually left me really shocked. Also, do not try this at home. I'm only using these contraptions on objects, and you should never point these at any living creatures. Anyway, back to the video. So using this bike pump, I'm going to fill this pressurized can with air, and then hopefully the dart should fly through here quick enough to pop this balloon. Within like 10 pumps, I had enough pressure to power the dart. So finally, we're going to see it in action. That worked out exactly how I planned it, but we're still not done. What you're seeing right now is what I call a shatter strike dart. The only difference is that instead of it being sharp, I've used the back end of a screw on the end, meaning it should be powerful enough to break glass. So let's put it to the test. But that was only the 1 minute toy gun. So by the end of this video, these weapons are going to get even crazier. Anyway, this time we're going to be making a mini crossbow, which should work a lot better than the air dart launcher. So starting off, I'm going to make the main body of it using lollipop sticks. And to make the diagonal parts, I'll use a ton of rubber bands reinforced with hot glue so it doesn't move around. Then for the handle, we're going to use more lollipop sticks with more hot glue, then more lollipop sticks and more hot glue and more lollipop sticks. You get the point. And now it's time for the most difficult part, which is making ridges for the rubber bands to go. It literally took me like 20 minutes just to do this part because of how solid the wood was. To be fair, it's actually starting to look like a proper crossbow now. Finally, we can move on to the interesting bit to make the working mechanism. It's actually really simple too. For the bit where the arrow goes through, I'm going to be using some basic printer paper from my cupboard, rolled up with tape so it doesn't unravel. And the actual trigger itself is really basic too. It's literally just a clothes peg stuck onto the main body of the crossbow. And last but not least, I'm going to add the rubber band which will power the arrows. Let's test it out. So I'm outside right now with the crossbow and I'm going to test it out on this balloon first to see if it will pop. But after that, I've got something even crazier that I'm going to test it on. Enough talking now, let's get right into it.
That was so loud.
And now it's time for the next crazy test. What you're seeing right here is a mini cardboard house that I made. And what I'm going to do is make a flaming arrow to set it on fire and burn it down to the ground. And it's pretty simple. All I had to do was join a matchstick onto the one I made before.
And there we go. This is our flaming arrow done.
And to make sure it sets the light properly, I'm drenching it with lighter fluid, which basically just makes it way more flammable. So lighting the arrow and charging the crossbow, let's see how lethal this thing actually is.
It's basically completely crumbled down now. You can't even tell that this was a house. So this is literally from a whole house of cardboard down to just ashes now.
Okay, now that was way cooler than the first build I made. But if I'm being honest, the crossbow was way too small, the ammo was hard to use, and I just want to make something that looks more powerful and intimidating. And to do that, I'm giving myself an entire day to build it. Let me show you how it's going to work. So what you're seeing right here is my wooden sniper design. The main body of it is going to be made out of plywood, and then on the end of it, I'm going to need to find a way to make a slingshot shape out of another piece of wood, glue that onto the main body, and then use elastic cord to shoot it just like a normal slingshot would. But the most difficult part is going to be this trigger mechanism right here, because I'm going to need to find a way where when I click this, it shoots the ammo out of the end of it. It's going to be really difficult, but I should be able to find a way to do it. So let's get right into it. Starting off, I'm going to need to make a piece of wood that's thick enough to make into the sniper shape. Right now, all I've got is this thin slab, but if I cut it in half and stick it together, it will be perfect. And making sure I cut right in the center, I'm using a tape measure and a ruler to mark my points. And now I can actually cut this in half. To do that, I'll be using a circle saw, which is really dangerous, so I'll need to take a few precautions before I start. First, I'm clamping the wood down so the slab doesn't move, and I've also put on ear defenders and glasses. Let's turn on the saw and cut this in half. just like that, I can put wood glue on both pieces and stick them together. And once again, I'll be using some clamps to keep it in place. I had to leave the glue to dry overnight, but now that the wood is thick enough, it's ready to be cut into the actual sniper shape. Using a ruler and a pencil, I've managed to make a pretty decent outline for how it's going to look. So using another saw now, I'm going to cut it out. And to make sure the edges aren't sharp, I'm using a file and some sandpaper to smooth it out. Now, we have a pretty good looking shape for the body of it. All that's left to do now is make the actual mechanism. So starting off, I'm drilling 2 holes into the back of the gun so it can fit these 2 nails in. And to make sure it won't fall out, I'm adding some super glue to it. Right now, they're way too tall though, but with this angle grinder, I can cut them down really easily. This was my first time using it, so it's kind of scary, but because I had a lot of safety gear on, there were no issues. And going in with the drill again, I'm making a few more holes for the trigger, which we'll get back to later. But now it's time to make the slingshot shape at the front. So I prepared these 2 pieces of wood, which the elastic will go through when it's finally done. So I'm just gonna super glue them on and let it dry. Okay, now this is actually looking really serious now. Anyway, back to the trigger now. I need to make a nail that bends around. For that, I'm using these pliers and going in again with the angle grinder, I'm chopping off the top of the nail. We're really close to finishing the mechanism now. All that's left to do is tie it into the holes I drilled earlier and boom, we've got a working trigger. And finally, by feeding the elastic through the slingshot and adding a pouch for the ammo, we're completely done. Okay, so I've taken it outside into a park and I'm going to be testing it out on glass bottles again.
I'm going to try this out. Hopefully it breaks the glass. It actually works.
So seeing as that works so well, I'm going to give it to my friend to see what he thinks of it.
Okay, so the way it works is basically put the ammo in here, pull it all the way back. Okay, and try to hit the glass.
So he actually couldn't hit the target, then decided to blame it on the gun.
How long did you spend making this?
I don't know, bro, like a whole day. Okay, let me try again. I'll show you how it works.
Hopefully this time after I show him again, he gets how to use it.
There we go, finally. Okay, that's right.
But even after showing him again, he decided to try it out at point blank range so he doesn't miss.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, finally you actually did it.
There's still one more thing I want to try with this though, which is shooting it at a longer range, and I haven't done that with any of the other builds. So let's see how it goes.
Oh! Oh my god, it just went straight through as well. Compared to the first one just broke the whole thing. Help me, bro, help me, please. Yo, help me, bro, help me. Yo. Oh, bro. No, wait, no. You just take the glass out, bro. Take the glass out. What the f?
It's actually got glass in front of it.
Oh my days, bro. So we hit the last bottle.
Luckily, I didn't get really hurt. I probably should have worn some gloves, but that last gun worked a lot better than I thought. If you enjoyed the video, you might as well subscribe and leave a like. It's my first one on the channel, and I've got tons more on the way.